It is crazy to think that the Way of Water is less than 14 days away after counting down the years to months to weeks and now days, with some countries experiencing it a day or so earlier and the premiere being next week. In this video, I want to essentially do a predictions of sorts, key elements that I think will happen, which will touch on plot elements. Avatar Theory here, hope you're doing well and having a fantastic day, and of course keep in mind potential spoilers if any of these predictions do come true, as these are only based on predicting the movie and not actual facts. So I won't, for example, say that I predict Jake will have kids or that I predict Qauritch will return, because we know that happens. I'll be coming back to this video once the movie releases to see what I got wrong but also what I got right, and maybe even discuss how that could affect the third movie. Now, the key point predictions will be in no specific order, so if you wish to jump straight into any prediction, then just follow the timestamps below. For my first prediction, I think that Qauritch will have a fake out death. Now, I know that James Cameron has already stated that Qauritch will appear as the villain in the second, third, fourth and fifth movie, so we know he won't die in this movie. But what I do think will happen is that him and Jake will have a final battle at the end. Chains will be involved while they're fighting on a sinking ship, and at some point the chains are going to be wrapped around Qauritch as he falls to the ground, or essentially into the water, which will drag him down to the bottom. Of course, from Jake's perspective and from the perspective of the audience, it might seem that Qauritch dies, and once Jake and his family leaves, it will be revealed that Qauritch actually survived this, escapes whatever is holding him down at the bottom, dragging himself to shore. I also do think that he will be mortally wounded, but given the fact that he's already been revived once, I can see the RDA finding his body as he only has moments left to live, and they essentially recover those memories from his Recom body, transferring it to a brand new Recom body, thus making him aware of the events of the Way of Water. Neteyam kills Waynfleet. At some point, I do believe Waynfleet is going to be a threat to the Sully family, likely the kids, and we know that Neteyam just wants to be like Jake, just wants to be a leader and fight, and I think at that moment, Neteyam is going to stand up, defend his siblings, and ultimately kill Waynfleet. What happens to Neteyam afterwards, I'll discuss in a moment. We know that Kiri's father died in the first movie, so it only makes sense that her mother would die in the Way of Water. I can see Moat dying in the first act of the movie, possibly in a scene where the RDA and Qauritch ambushes the Sully family, and Qauritch being likely the one that kills Moat right in front of Neytiri. Of course, with Jake and Neytiri being outnumbered by the RDA, there would be no way for them to lash out in anger, thus the only thing they can do is watch Moat die, and I also do think that this will be in the scene where Spider gets captured. More than one sea dragon. Now, I've already done an extensive breakdown on the sea dragon itself, and on top of the sea dragon, it said SD01, which kind of implies Sea Dragon 01, hinting at the possibility of there being more sea dragons. And we see in one of the teasers or one of the trailers that there is a sea dragon that has a turbine engine on fire, and in another scene, we see Payakan landing on a sea dragon, saving Tuk, Loak, and Sirea, indicating that those could possibly be two different sea dragons. Therefore, I do think there's going to be more than one sea dragon in the movie. Spider will get his own avatar. This was something that I theorized for quite some time, and I can easily see it happening where Spider is offered his own avatar, maybe experiencing it in a few scenes, but ultimately towards the end decides that he does not want this avatar body, unlike what Jake did in the first movie. It could be possible that Qauritch could be the one to offer him this avatar body, essentially telling him that it's Jake's fault in what happened, trying to turn him to their side, but of course ultimately it does not work. Flashback opening scene. Now, I can easily see the first 10 to 20 minutes of the movie being spent on flashbacks in showing the audience what happened in the time between the first and second movie. It'll likely show the birth of Jake's firstborn, how the remaining humans changed at Hell's Gate, possibly even how Jake used some of the remaining RDA tech to evolve the homes of the Metkayina, where we might also see the RDA building Bridgehead in secret. Neteyam dies. Now, I've predicted for some time that we're likely going to see the death of a member in the Sully family, and it's most likely going to be Neteyam. Earlier, I predicted that Neteyam will kill Waynfleet, and I do think shortly after that, there's going to be a moment where we see Neteyam face to face with Qauritch, and Neteyam, being on a high rush of sorts after killing Waynfleet, thinks that he can take on Qauritch, and then he quickly realizes that he is no match for Qauritch. I can then see Qauritch easily killing Neteyam in front of Jake and Kiri, which then kicks kicks off the final battle between Jake and Qauritch. Parker plays golf. Now, this is something that I'm just theorizing for the fun of it, because we know there is a deleted scene in the first Avatar movie where Parker plays golf outside, and we know that he does like playing golf. So just for the fun of it, I do predict we're going to see him playing golf in the Way of Water. Recoms forming a team. Now, what I mean by this prediction is that we know, of course, they're going to work in a team, but I do think that they're going to essentially form a team aside of their own. They're going to realize over the time of the movie that they are stronger, better, more superior than humans. And as we know, General Ardmore outranks Qauritch. I can see a situation where he gets kind of irritated by taking orders from her and in secret try to form his own team. It'll easily be a situation where the RDA is losing the final battle between the Na'vi and General Ardmore commands the remaining RDA to retreat, but then Qauritch and his team ignores that order, which then results in the downfall of Qauritch. Payakan will save Lo'ak more than once. Now, based on that one mid-credit scene from Avatar Remastered, we do see Lo'ak wake up next to Payakan, which did indicate that Payakan saved Lo'ak from something, but I do predict that Payakan is probably going to save Lo'ak on more than one occasion. Kiri will have abilities. Now, I'm not saying that she's going to have abilities like Superman where she flies around and shoots lasers out of her eyes. No, not like those kind of abilities. More in the way of she's going to have an ability where she can connect to Pandora and in a way tell the animals what to do. Think of it like a strategy game where you command your units to attack certain buildings and move them around. I do think it's going to be something like that where she can essentially connect to the Tree of Souls or that underwater tree and tell the creatures what to do, as she definitely has a strong connection with Eywa, and I can see her arriving at the final battle with a group of Tulkuns to save the day. We will see Earth. Now, I'm not sure to what extent we'll see Earth, if it will be in flashbacks or if we will see Earth in the terms of what the RDA has been up to since they left Pandora, but I do think we'll see some sections of Earth, whether it be just a couple of scenes or extensive scenes, but regardless, I do think Earth will be shown in the Way of Water. My next two predictions kinda go hand in hand, and that is that Spider is the son of Qauritch, and Qauritch does not know Spider is his son. This has been something that I speculated for some time as well, as we know based on the leaked audio that when they mention Spider's father, he just says that he doesn't want to talk about it, and Kiri does tell him that you are not him, implying that Qauritch is possibly Spider's father. Now this of course has not been confirmed, but I also do think that with the fact that Spider is likely going to be Qauritch's son, he's not going to know that Spider is his kid. He's not even going to know that he does have a kid, and over the course of the movie, after capturing him, he's going to form some sort of connection with Spider, and only later on realize or learn that Spider is in fact his son. General Ardmore won't die in the movie. Now we know at the end of the first movie that Qauritch does die in quotes, but I do not think that General Ardmore will die. Most likely the RDA will lose the battle between the Na'vi and they'll be forced to retreat, thus General Ardmore will be one of those that make it out alive. Bridgehead won't be taken. Unlike Hell's Gate in the first movie that was taken over by the Na'vi, I do not think that Bridgehead will be taken. At least not in this movie. If they do take control of Bridgehead though, I do think it'll be more of a rehash of the first movie. Therefore, I do not think they'll be focusing too much on taking over Bridgehead, as that will possibly be left for a final battle in the third movie. Voiceover from Jake. Now we know in the first movie Jake did a voiceover in the beginning of the movie, and I do think, adding to my previous prediction where we will get flashbacks, I do think that Jake will be talking over that flashbacks, explaining to somebody what happened during the time of the first movie until the second movie, and when we get to the present time it'll be revealed that he's likely talking to Spider, explaining to him how he found him and what had happened until that day. Recom Quaritch wakes up in anger. When Jake woke up in his avatar body in the first movie, he was very excited about this new body, about being able to move his legs, his feet, and he was just excited to go out there and explore this new body that is in. But I do think that when Qauritch wakes up for the first time in his Recom body, it's going to have somewhat of an opposite effect. He's going to be somewhat shocked, angry, because you have to remember that he's now become the thing he hates the most. So I can easily see him waking up in this new body, not knowing what's happening, what he is, and just lashing out in anger, in almost like a rage fit, just punching everybody near him until he possibly sees some of the other Recom members, some people that he recognizes, and that makes him calm down a little bit more. Now, I do predict that Neteyam will die, but I also predict that he will have some sort of love interest. He might not form a relationship with that person, like how Jake and Kiri formed a relationship in the first movie, but I do think he's going to have some sort of connection, some sort of close connection to somebody in this movie, which is going to make his death just that much more difficult. For my final prediction, I do predict that the movie will end with Qauritch opening his eyes, akin to how the first movie ended with Jake opening his eyes in his avatar body. Now, I did state that Qauritch will have a fake out death, so at the end of the movie, when they transfer his memories to this new avatar body, I can easily see the camera panning down on his new body as he opens his eyes in anger, thus leaving this movie on a cliffhanger. Now, on top of my own predictions, I did ask you guys to predict some things in my community tab that was not on my list, and Aaron Yeager predicted that Moat and Norm will die in the same scene like 4 minutes apart. Now, I already predicted that Moat will die, but it is an interesting prediction that Norm will also die and in the same scene like 4 minutes apart. Victoria predicted that the gadgets around the neck of the Banshees that the Recoms are riding are captured and are forced to obey the Recoms. Now, I did state in my breakdown of the new trailer that it does seem like those devices forces the Banshees to obey the Recoms, but I did not have this in my prediction list, so we'll have to wait to see if this comes true. Trudy comes back as a Recom. We know that a lot of RDA soldiers are coming back as Recoms, and only DS predicted that Trudy will come back in Avatar form, or in this case, in Recom form. I could see it happening. We've not yet heard of Michelle Rodriguez returning to Avatar, so it'll certainly be quite a surprise to see her in Recom form, and if that does happen, I do wonder where her allegiances would lie. Now, we know that the RDA is going to attack the Metkayina tribe, and Sam Gibson predicted that there will be a point where the Recoms attack the Water Navi and they mistakenly blame it on Jake. I can see it as being a situation where the Recoms, like I said, attack the Metkayina clan, capture Loak, Tuk, and Tirea, and after leaving, Ronel and Tonawari blames Jake for the Recoms and the RDA attacking their clan, which will result in some temporary conflict between them, but ultimately they are forced to join sides because of course the Recoms and the RDA has now captured not only Jake and Etiri's children, but also the daughter of Ronel and Tonawari. And for the final prediction, Dylan Cole gave an extensive prediction which included multiple points, but the one that I want to focus on is where it states that we'll get to see some flashback scenes where Kiri meets Grace. I can see it being a situation where Kiri connects with the Tree of Souls, and we can see a scene where we see Kiri meeting Grace or talking to Grace, either in her avatar or human form. And those are all the predictions for The Way of Water. As mentioned, I'll be coming back to this video later just to see how many I got right and wrong, but feel free to add some more in the comments below, and I'll maybe add some then in the corrections video later on. But if you're new to this channel, then please consider subscribing, as it only takes a second and would really help out my channel. But until next time, have a fantastic day and stay safe.